Hello and welcome. Today I figured we'll talk about something might be quite a sensitive subject to a lot of people, which is weight. I figured I'll tell you guys about how my weight journey has been so far. I've struggled with my weight just about my entire life, and it's been ups and downs, literally. And at the same time, I'll do my makeup. So, I've always been chubby. Both my mother and father has been overweight just about my entire life. Growing up, I was always the chubby kid. And there was only like when I had a few growth spurts when I was regarded more like normal weighted. As a grown up, I tried dieting a lot of times. In 2011, I met a lady who introduced me to low carb, high fat diet, LCHF, which I tried and it worked really good in the beginning. Like in 6 months, I dropped like 20 kilos, which was great. I felt great, but of course I wanted to lose more. So I kept at it. A year later, still hadn't lost anything. And after 1.5 years, I kinda started cheating because I got a bit discouraged of nothing happening on the scale. So I gained weight back and some more. Sadly. In 2013, I decided to give it another go, and at the same time, I figured I'll do some workout. Because working out and dieting at the same time, you must lose weight doing that, right? That's what everybody tells you. If you work out and diet, you will lose weight. So, I started in March 2013, and until August, I was working out 5 to 6 times a week, mostly running and biking. Also joined a workout group, and on top of that I was also my work at the time, I was delivering morning newspapers. One of my work was delivering newspapers in apartments, and those apartments they all had 3 stores, 3 levels, which meant that I, in a lot of them, had to run up staircases because there was only one building there where was elevators in them. Other than that, they all was just staircases. So, not just during the workout I was running, but also during work I decided to run. So I ran between the buildings and I ran also in the staircases. So after 5 months doing that, you figured something will happen, right? Well, I got a lot of stamina. I did indeed. But nothing happened on the scale. Absolutely nothing. And totally got discouraged again. And I also was very strict on my diet with the LCHF because it had worked in the past. Like, why wouldn't it work again? I don't know. Just didn't. So that made me very sad, I guess. So I started cheating again with the meals, and I started gaining weight again. After that, I on and off tried to get back on LCHF. I'll try other diets, but nothing really worked in the long run. So I think I started seeking help, like professional help, in 2016. Of course, I went to a dietist before that, like in 2010 or 11 or 12 or something. But I started seeking again professional help in 2016, I think, in the end of 2016, and got to see some doctors, and after a long wait I got approved for a gastric sleeve surgery. Because my problem was that I overate, which is basically the only thing that gastric sleeve also will help you with: portion control. If you eat too much, doesn't really matter what you eat, you will not lose weight. End of November I was scheduled to have my gastric sleeve surgery, but before that I had to do some classes where they explained everything, how the surgery would go, what would happen with like my body and how my systems and everything will function, which was very informative. Of course, I had read up and looked it up on the internet beforehand, because I have a lot of friends and acquaintances that has done not gastric sleeve but gastric bypass, and I was of course curious about why my region decides to do gastric sleeve instead of gastric bypass. But apparently the reason why they do that in my region is because there's less complications with gastric sleeves than it is with gastric bypasses. And also it's also proven that it's only 20% less effective when it comes to weight than a gastric bypass is. So the pros outweigh the cons. And after learning that, I was also very happy of getting the gastric sleeve and, rather than the bypass. So I was scheduled to have the surgery in late November, and I got like the information in beginning of October, I think, and then they said like when you get the letter you can start going on the liquid diet, because you're supposed to go on a liquid diet just before the surgery, well, a few weeks before the surgery, because that will decrease the chances of complications. So I was like, yeehaw, my last chance of like being really gluttonous. So I had like Ben and Gary's every day and all candy and everything. So I was supposed to lose... No, not I was supposed to lose. I was supposed to weigh or at the most 110 before the surgery, because when they had summoned me for the seminar or information, I was weighing 117. But after the seminar, when I just went crazy with food and stuff, well, Ben Gary's, and when I received the letter, I was weighing 121. So for me to go down to 110 in just like 3.5 weeks, kind of difficult. They also pull me in for like some tests like a week before the surgery, and it was almost I wouldn't get the surgery because I was weighing at that point 114. So in my world I was over the top because I had like lost 7 kilos, is that? Yeah, 7 kilos in like 2.5 weeks. But they were like, you only lost 3 kilos in their world. And they didn't want to really listen to me, but my doctors still said like, okay, she has shown signs of wanting this since she lost some weight, so we're still gonna prove it. I was like, but I lost 7. I didn't lose 3. I lost 7. I'm like, yeah, but you weighed 117. Well, like, no, I weighed 121. But at the surgery day, I did weigh 110. So I did lose like 11 kilos in 3.5 weeks. Which, when you're that big, it's not that big of accomplishment, but I was really proud of myself going on that liquid diet, which was not that bad, but at the same time, like, you didn't have any energy to do anything. I didn't have that much cravings for food. Like, I told myself I don't have any other choice, so it was not that bad when it comes to cravings of food. Like, I drank tea and I had these diet shakes that the doctors had recommended. I had to try around quite a bit to be able to find anything that was actually good, because there's a lot of bad out there. Like, if you're going on a liquid diet, don't settle for something that's just passable. Actually look around until you find something that's good, because there is good stuff out there. So they done a laparoscopic surgery on me, which means that they did a little bit bigger hole in my navel and then a few smaller ones on the side. I think it's 3 smaller ones, like 2 on my right side and then 1 on my left side, where they had like cameras and light and stuff. And the surgery went fine. Nothing weird happened. Woke up, was sore, of course. And since my surgery was so late on the day, I had to spend the night at the hospital. Normally they send you on your way home after a few hours, but I got to spend the night, which I'm quite happy about, except there was this nurse who was so curious about the operation, about the surgery, about what it all meant. So she just kept talking to me. I was like, please, it's 2 a.m. I just wanna sleep. Leave me alone. But no, she just kept talking and talking and asking questions and questions and questions. So I handed her the brochure they given me about the post-op information. I was like, read this, leave me alone. So the next day I got to go home and continue on a liquid diet. So this was just before Christmas, with all the Christmas foods and stuff. I just was allowed to eat a little bit of solid at Christmas Eve, which I'm happy about, even though I couldn't really eat anything. Like, the pain after the surgery is like, it stings. Everything that you have in your stomach stings really badly, which is very understandable for what they did. They removed a big chunk of your stomach and then stapled it together again. So my stomach, instead of like being a small ball, now is like a sleeve, like a tube. Goes directly, passes on to my intestines. Whilst in a gastric bypass, they disconnect a small part. Well, they keep a small part of your stomach and then disconnect it from the rest of the stomach, leaves that and the beginning of the intestines, and then they draw like a new route into your new tiny stomach. So it goes like from this tiny stomach into another part of the intestines and then leave the old stomach and beginning of intestines inside you. For me, they like cut part away of big part away of my stomach, the bigger part, and just take it out. But my stomach still goes as it should to the intestines. You just don't have any place to gather really in my stomach. It just goes flushing. So I can get hungry very fast, but I also fill up very fast because it doesn't have any space to gather up inside me. After the surgery, I kept losing weight, and when I was as lowest, which is where I am today also, I have in total lost 41 kilos if we count as 121 is my highest. So after the surgery, which has meant that I lost 30 kilos then, which is not as a lot as a lot of other people which had had the same surgery as done, but here I am 3 years later still at that weight, and I'm happy, I'm comfortable with it, so it's a big win in my book. Before the surgery I was very uncomfortable in my own body. Like, I couldn't move, I couldn't do stuff if I would have to travel somewhere. Like just sitting on an airplane, everything was so uncomfortable, and just bending down, tie your shoes. I couldn't breathe doing that. Everything was just... yeah, I was very unhappy, like borderline depressed about it. Now I'm not thin, but I'm happy where I am. Like, I still see myself as fat if I look in the mirror or something like that. But I don't really like when I do stuff. I don't feel uncomfortable doing stuff as I did when I weighed 121 kilos. I feel very happy and very free. And just being able to shop in regular stores is liberating. Like in American views, I'm a size medium. Which like never has happened before in my life. I'm still a size large in European, but like I said before, I know quite a few people who has done this surgery or the gastric bypass one. Some of them have succeeded, some have not. The difference that I can tell about the successful ones and the ones that have failed is the mindset. A gastric bypass or a gastric sleeve, it's not a quick fix. Working with your weight is something you need to do every day the rest of your life. And if your problem is that you only eat candy, that's your only food intake, a gastric bypass or a sleeve will not fix that. It will only inhibit your portion size, but only for a while. If you're an overeater and you just want to overeat, a gastric sleeve or a bypass will only work for you for a little while. One man I know was so sad that after his bypass he wasn't able to eat an entire pizza. So he forced himself until he could eat an entire pizza, which is possible to do. And now he weighs even more than he did before the bypass. So if you have the mindset of wanting to do a life change for rest of your life, keeping it that way, then this a gastric bypass or sleeve will work. But it's also usually weight problems is mental problems. For me, of course, I found a lot of comfort in food from traumas that happened in my childhood and teenage years. So I had to work a lot with that, which I've done. And it's a lot easier saying no to food if you are happy mentally. So not just work with what you eat. Also make sure that you're mentally in the right place to be able to make the right decisions. Rude. The lips. More purple, right? Yes, going purple. So today we're wearing Instigator by MAC. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Today's makeup, I will say it is done. Oh, look at that shine. Look at it. So, we've been talking about weight today. it's only fair that I show off a little bit more how I look. And this Doctor Who hoodie does not do. Be right back. I think that will conclude today's topic about weight and weight loss and how my gastric sleeve went. So even after all these years, I don't see what other people see when they look at me, which I think most people can relate to. Excuse my dog's breathing. Bella. Tack. And thank you everybody who's been listening to today's story. Hope you liked it. Please give it a like if you did. Please subscribe if you want to see more like this video. Also, I am on Twitch with the same username as I got here on YouTube. And Bella. I'll leave a link down below. Thank you. Take care. Be safe. Bye bye.